Steven Thomas with reportsonhousing.com. I do have a kid in the house right now. Who's this?
Mason.
Mason's had short days all week long because of conferences, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, that's pretty fun, right?
Yeah.
So he's been home like at 12:30 every single day. Anything exciting that you want to share with the masses out there?
No.
No. Okay. We'll have fun then. We'll have fun here. Hello. Somebody said hi, Mason. Oh, geez. Hang on, just making sure. Oh, that was just the kids saying they're on their way home. Had to make sure that what was going on. So, anyhow, let's go ahead and begin. I'm sure some kids will be coming home shortly. Here's the thing. Let's see. Housing Debrief. This is episode 31 for season 2. That's this year. Oh, there we go. What's going on? Okay, here. Our sponsor, Kevin Buddy. Kevin Buddy's been our ongoing sponsor for quite some time. We absolutely love working with Kevin. And he's at Monarch Coast Financial. He deals with more than one kind of borrower, of course. So there's got to be more than one kind of loan. So they deal with everything from full documentation loans to alternative documentation loans to investor financing and private money. So pretty much dealing with everything, and loads of experience. He's been doing this since 1976, helping out families and realtors and everybody out there. So he helped out my family as well with our own refinance, and it was absolutely easy to do. Pretty awesome. So contact Kevin Buddy at Monarch Coast Financial to have him help you and also your clients. And he can be reached at 949-422-2075. That's 949-422-2075. All right. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate that. Reports on Housing, that's our company. It's your local real estate snapshot. You can go to reportsonhousing.com to see our website and to subscribe to reports. But we're really about driving home the power and data to you. And I am the geek behind the wheel, and we also have another a geek with a quantitative economics degree as well. I have a quantitative economics decision sciences degree. I am a nerd. This is who I am inside. Some people like to golf. I like to do data and stats and all that. I'm a housing analyst, and that's what I do for a living. That's all I do. So I'll call it like it is. If it's great, I'll tell you it's great. If it's going up too fast in value, I said it's going up too fast in value. I've been saying that for a long time. I've been rooting for interest rates to go up to slow this puppy down. Does that mean that we are going to be seeing a crash? No. Does that mean it's a bubble? No. I'm looking at a whole bunch of metrics. So, at the end of the day, you tap into the biggest geek in the room, and not necessarily investors that have made it big and they had their own YouTube channels and they're permanently bearish and they want you to click their links and watch their videos, and everybody does because they want to be able to tap into real estate the way that it had been. So they're rooting for prices to come down. I understand that. That's human nature, but that's not what we're reporting on. What I'm reporting on is exactly what's happening in the marketplace so that you can properly make decisions. And we have reports that dot all over Southern California. I've been doing Southern California for many, many years. I'm right now starting to look at the Bay Area as well. And so the most recent article that came out, the report, and this was for along the coast, San Diego, Orange County, and Los Angeles, it's housing insanity. When will it end? And there is really a recipe to slowing this puppy down. And it's not going to be a crash. It's not going to be something like that. It's going to be higher rates. And I talk about it in the latest report. San Bernardino and Riverside will get theirs Monday. We just crunched the numbers from through yesterday. Got done with doing that. And you know what? It definitely shows where we are right now. And it's a very hot market. So reportsonhousing.com, that's our website. You go there to subscribe, and it's $15 per month or $150 per year. It's insanely inexpensive on purpose so that you think about it twice when you go to Starbucks. Skip Starbucks or skip a burger. If you have DoorDash, coming. You know what? Just don't do it as often and get the report instead. Because if you sign up, you'll get a month free. If you utilize the coupon code margins, that's what we're talking about here. So go to reportsonhousing.com, put in margins, and you'll get a free month. And if you sign up for annual, you'll get 13 months. You won't be charged for that first month. So I do have something funny to share. Of course, a couple things, but Zillow says my home is worth $1 million. I thought that was funny, cute at the same time. How about this one? I wasn't in the market for a house, but $250 in free tacos with purchase of this home. Yeah, you know what? Free tacos if you purchase the home. It's a lot of tacos, $250. Kind of creative. So that leads us to, is housing doomed? Does Zillow know something? This is what I've heard. I've heard this all over the net. Matter of fact, there's somebody that's going to be speaking to this very topic out of an escrow office in San Diego County, and they have two guys on there that are investors. They're younger than a lot younger than I am, but so they made it big in investments and all that stuff. But that does not make them experts. At the end of the day, they're going to be wrong on their call. There's so many people that are wrong on their calls. They've been calling for the bottom to fall out of the market, for there to be a crash in 2021. Well, guess what? They're running out of real estate for 2021. Now they're moving their goalpost to where? 2022. And the same thing with the Zillow. Zillow must know something. So speaking of Zillow, they're a disruptor. They've been a disruptor for years. Real estate agents and real estate industry have had a love-hate relationship with them. They love them because they can give them leads, but they have to pay for them. It's all the listings that we put together across the United States in real estate land are all placed into this wonderful website called Zillow. And Zillow does a great job of marketing and being able to utilize their platform to search on your own to see what homes are worth and to see what your own homes worth, the homes that are off the market and what they're worth. So there's a lot of stickiness to the site that they created. They are a disruptor, and they got so big and so good at this that they decided that they were going to do other things as well, iBuying being one of them. And at first, what they're really good at is, like I said, everybody likes to go on to and search the site for, see what's coming on, just to browse something. Maybe how expensive are homes by the beach? What does this one look like? And that type of thing. So that's what it was. And then coronavirus hit, and people were stuck at home and couldn't work as much also. So there was a period of time where everybody just sitting on the couch looking at Zillow like crazy. As a matter of fact, it was so popular searching for homes that a lot of people ended up doing it. That Saturday Night Live did a skit on Zillow and how everybody's searching and looking for homes. Did you want to say hello to everybody?
Yeah.
We're live right now. Oh, that goes on my phone. I'll show you later afterwards. But hey, let's go ahead. Say hello to everybody. Who's this? What's your name? Aziki. What do you have in your hand there? It's a sleeve slinky. He's got a sleeve slinky.
I go on the
sleeve. Yeah.
On the
Yeah, you put it in your arm.
Yeah.
And then it rolls down your arm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You didn't have school today, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had parent-teacher conferences for preschool. Yes. Yeah, you had a lot of fun, huh? They said you're a good kid. You know that, right? All right. Well, say goodbye to everybody. Say see you later.
See you later.
Okay. Well, when Alana and Athena get home, tell them to come over here as well. So, anyways, even Saturday Night Live made fun and poked fun at the fact that everybody goes on Zillow and they were looking around and shopping and they're just for fun. That's what it's all about. So there's some stickiness where some people are really looking for homes on there, and then they contact people through Zillow, and that's where they've got a lot of traction. But during the pandemic, it became this thing where everybody was on there just to look at what if scenarios, right? So now, then they decided to get into the iBuyer game, the flipping a house. And this is in a market where there's such little inventory that it's very, very hard to do because the margins have been shrinking down. They've been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So to play here, you have to be extremely careful. There are still a couple other iBuyer platforms that are out there, Open Door being the biggest one that's out there, and there's another one as well. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, it's off the top of my head because I'm getting old. My white hair prevents me from remembering everything. But their margins are getting a lot smaller with flippers. And there are mom and pop flippers. There are investors out there that like to flip. But I've talked to a lot of investors, and it's just really dwindled down the number of investors that we have that are out there. So the flipping idea is, of course, you go in there, and this is what Zillow was going to do. I mean, they weren't going to do it where it's tricked out and at the end of the day looks like this, where they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's what a lot of flippers do. They spend a tremendous amount of money and in order to ride the market, as well as the fact that people like new, but you have to dump a lot of money and a lot of capital into it. And the getting goods and everything else for these remodels is very hard to do. Finding good contractors is hard to do right now when everybody is so busy with their with the remodels of homes all over the place. So this has really been an issue. So there's just not enough workers in this space, and there are issues similar to what we're dealing with the supply chain problems. It's kind of the same thing at this. So the to turn these properties around takes time, and there's a holding cost to all that stuff. So there's a lot that goes into this. And Zillow has algorithms that they were utilizing. And with those algorithms, of course, they are also having to forecast out and decide how far prices are going to go. And they, yes, we were going up at a very, very fast clip, about 2% per month for a while there, but we're still going up at a pretty decent clip. It's not as hot as it was before because we got into the fall market. I still feel that we're going to go at a pretty hot clip at the beginning of 2022 because of some issues with supply and demand that we'll get into later. But they had to do a little bit of forecasting as well. And they know that there's a bit of an issue because Zillow CEO Rich Barton this week, he was talking to CNBC. There's been another number of articles. It's kind of like to put out fires so that Zillow stock doesn't go down to zero. So they had to get out in front of the media and all that stuff. Very hard to do when you're taking a beating like they had this past week. But they announced a few weeks ago that they were putting a halt to iBuyers, and then this week all of a sudden they said we're out of it completely. And that just shows you that how choppy the waters are there, and the fact that their algorithms and their economic model was not working at all for it. We've determined that the unpredictability in forecasting home prices far exceeds what we anticipated. That's what Rich Barton said. And then further, he said Zillow's ultimate failure was its inability to predict housing prices accurately. And that's kind of what they're known for, these Zestimates. But the Zestimates are it's an algorithm, a computer algorithm. And the problem with these computer algorithms is it doesn't spit out your exact value. I remodeled my house recently, and I can tell you this, the Zestimate didn't change at all. They can't take into consideration if I have, if all of a sudden there's this real bad odor, I want to get out of here because this odor has been getting worse and worse. I leave, I sell my house, and but that didn't reflect what the Zestimate is, because then somebody else came in here and said, hey, you know what? Yeah, it smells. I want some money off of this house. So it can't take into consideration everything that's been done inside, all the remodeling that's been done. And it really, ultimately, to do a drive-by, which we're starting to move towards drive-by appraisals. I mean, you can get a pretty relatively good idea about what a home is worth. But if you really want to know what a home is worth, you have to go inside and you have to see all the amenities and everything else that fall into it in order to come out with the exact fair market value of a home. A computer, ones and zeros, cannot do that. That's the problem. And there's this standard deviation, and that standard deviation comes from my economics land that I do. And that means that you want to have this as narrow as possible, and that's the error. Well, the problem with this is, and I downloaded this right from Zillow. They allow you to download it. It's their error quote. Their errors for all the different counties across the United States. You can download this. There's so many on there. I just picked LA, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, and San Diego County because that's Southern California, right? But I want to point out that middle column within 5% of the sales price. Los Angeles is at 82.6%. So what they do is they take a look at all closed sales, and then they say, where were our estimates? Well, what did it close at? And ultimately, they've been off by, if you do the math there, more than 17% within 5% of the sales price. So if the sales price is 5% off of what they guesstimated, that's not accurate at 82.6%. They're better in Orange County at 92%, but they're still 8% off. That's a big gap. And you want to get it as close as possible. You should be able to go in there and say within reason that you're within a tight margin of give or take, $20,000. Well, in this grand scheme of things, $1 million property, $20,000 is 5%, and that shows you what that is. So that's almost in line, but they didn't hit that many within 5%. Within 10%, they get more accurate. Well, 10% of $1 million is $100,000. Is that right? Yeah, not 10% of $1 million is 100. Yeah, 5% of $1 million is 50 grand. So my math was off. So you could see that their errors are a bit larger, and this relying on these estimates was kind of a problem. Because within 20% of sales price, well, yes, they reached that in spades, but within 10%, that's where they had a bit of an issue in all these different counties. So within 10% is, plus or minus $100,000. That's a big disparity. So, and then here's what's been going on out there. So as soon as this news hit, you heard all of these websites and all of these perma-bears that were out there, that these YouTubers that like to beat up on the housing market over and over and over again because it gets a lot of people to click on it. Why? Because so many people are rooting against the housing market because they feel like they lost out, and they feel like it's got to slow down in order for them to participate. They're waiting for the crash in order for them to participate, which is just not going to happen. It's not in the cards right now. Nothing that I can see. I'd report upon it if I did see it. But here's the story that people are trying to tell everybody. They're trying to tell them that Zillow knows something. They've got the algorithms. They can forecast future. But you just heard from the CEO, and the CEO said that he can't. They can't. They're not doing an adequate job of being able to forecast what's going on just in the short-term future, let alone the long-term future. So, which leads us to because of the fact that they have all the algorithms, that this market has got to crash. And that's just simply not the case. And let me demonstrate what that means by taking a look at the housing market. Come here. It's Athena Rose.
Hi.
You can climb up on that. There you go. Now they can see you. This is Athena Rose.
It is Friday, not Tuesday.
Oh, she's wearing a Taco Tuesday. Is that what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Tuesday. It's actually Friday. So yeah,
Exactly.
cool. Yeah, awesome. You just got home. Did you walk home?
No.
Did you jog home? You biked.
We biked.
Are you pooped?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm wearing leggings.
Awesome. Hey, who's this?
Hi, I'm AJ Lana.
Yeah, anything you'd like to say to the masses?
Hey.
a woman with a lot of words.
Yeah, really
Good.
thinking.
Yeah, good. All righty. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Glad you could swing by. All right. So the housing market really does show you really what's going on in the future. It's not lining up to be a crash. I just don't even want to have to deal with everything that I've heard from all these YouTubers and all the blogs and articles and everything that have been put out there. It's like it gets people to engage because that's what they're wishing for. And unfortunately, as we've known, and that's the way papers work and everything else, and the news media period, it's a lot of the negativity is what sells. I mean, people would rather see that than watch unicorns and ponies and things like that. So it's unfortunately that's what gets people engaged and they're clicking away. There's really an inventory crisis that we're dealing with right now, and it is an acute inventory crisis. It's getting a little bit worse as we close out this year, and we're going to start next year. And it's a supply and demand thing. I have Orange County's data that goes back by far the furthest, and you can see this was during the Great Recession when I knew that we had a problem because we had a supply glut. We have the opposite of that right now. We have a supply crisis. That is a real issue. So my data doesn't go back as far and for all of Southern California, and I do have an unsold inventory index that I can download from the California Association of Realtors, but I like to look at the real available number of homes to show people, to show buyers, because that really demonstrates by far the best as to where we are in the marketplace. And you can see this is where we are for all of Southern California. We will dip down to a record low level from in January on January 1st of 2022. And you can see we're very, very low compared to where we were prior. And like I said, this started in 2012, and the very, very left-hand side where it says 40,000 active listings, it was much higher than that prior. That's what Orange County was showing when they had. Orange County has about 1,800 homes on the market. They had 18,000 homes on the market in 2007. You see the difference? That's called a supply glut, and we saw it not in 2007, but we started to see it all the way back at the fall of 2005. So when you see cracks in the market, you can start reporting on them early, and so that people can make the accurate, they have the proper expectations to do what's best for their families. I'm not seeing it in any of the data or anything else that I'm looking at, and you can see this in the inventory last week. We were down 5% in a 2-week period, shed 906 homes, and it was the largest drop of the year. And that's typical for once we start getting into the holidays. We started that a little bit early with a big drop because we're still dropping during the autumn market. Inventory comes down slowly, and so does demand. But you can see that was a huge drop, down 5%, largest drop of the year. Last year we were at 25,426. That's 38% higher than where we are today, and that was an all-time low last year for this time of the year. And yet it's higher than where we are today. 3-year average is 40,036. So our combined for all of Southern California, we should have 40,000 homes in the market. We have 18. So that's over double where we are today. And then today, because that was last Thursday, what I'm comparing it to is 18,207. It's only gone down 1%. This is more like it. It's probably going to be like this for like the next couple weeks. And I'll explain that in a second. But the inventory is going to slightly go down until we get to the holidays, and then it's going to drop like a rock, like it does every single time, because there's a lot of people that will throw in the towel, and the fewest number of homes come on the market in December, the second fewest number of homes come on the market in November, the third fewest number of homes come on the market in January. So LA is at 7747. In the last week, it went down 1%. Orange County is at 1838. Earlier this week, it dipped below 1,800, but now that everybody's getting ready for the weekend, we're above it, barely at 1,838. By next week, this time, we should probably be dipping right below 1,800. So it went down 1% in a week. That by Orange County is the only county that has the fewest numbers ever that I've seen in Orange County at 1,838. So Orange County is really behind the 8 ball, probably worse than all the other counties based upon its inventory. Riverside's at 3,384, gone down 2.5% over the last week. And then San Bernardino's down 1%, 2,913 in the last week. And then San Diego County down to 2,325, down 1%. San Diego County is going to get below 2,000 also. I don't think San Bernardino is going to quite make it underneath of 2,000, but that's a really ridiculous threshold for the size of these counties in Southern California. And so demand has been juiced by interest rates. I don't know if you've been keeping up with this. This thing comes out every Thursday. It's the primary mortgage market survey. That's the geek that I am. I know when everything's going to be released. And on Thursday, yesterday it came out 3.09%. So it was going up. I was stoked, and now it's come back down. As a matter of fact, I was looking at the 10-year Treasury, which closely mirrors what happens with mortgage rates because it's the same appetite for 10-year Treasuries as there is for 30-year mortgages. So that's why people refer to the 10-year Treasury, what it's doing when they're talking about mortgages. I know it sounds confusing, but it's the same appetite. So when you look at 10-year Treasuries, it will kind of tell you what's going on with interest rates. And 10-year Treasuries kind of were coming, they were continuing to go up, and then they started to come down a little bit. Even though they announced tapering earlier this week, we have interest rates that are falling slightly. We're at 3.09%. We were at 3.14% last week. So I'm not stoked about that. I wanted to go up a little bit because that's the only thing that's going to slow this down. Either we have higher interest rates to get more inventory, or values escalate to a point where enough buyers back off so that inventory can rise. Those are the only two options. I'm rooting for interest rates because I don't want values to get way too out of hand. So there you go. And then Southern California demand, that's the snapshot of 30 days of new escrows. So that's what I call demand. And last week, 17,556, down 3%, or shedding 627 pending sales. It was the largest drop of the year. So we had the largest drop of the year in demand and supply. And last year we were at 20,127 right now. So yes, demand was higher last year at this time of the year, but you have to understand that's because of a 4-month delay in the spring market. That's it. It's just earlier this year over year, we were way better than last year. So it was just because of a 4-month delay in demand. And the 3-year average is 14,319. That's 18% less than where we are today. So you can see, even though we actually are placing fewer homes on the market, we also have a very limited inventory. We're still placing more into escrow than the average prior to COVID, 2017 to 2019. Today we're at 17,350, gone down another 1%. Very similar to the inventory. Inventory and demand both dropped about 1% in the last week. And where are we going from here? Slowly but surely down, and then boom, plunge. And that happens just like the inventory. Inventory plunges, demand plunges. That's because that's not when people like to come on the market. That's not when people like to transact. Within the month of December, opening something up that closes when? January, February, it just doesn't happen. So it's the slowest point of the year. And then after that, we're going to start off the new year after we, celebrate the beginning of 2022. Boom, the demand will start to increase really fast, and it will increase extremely fast with homes as they come on the market. So there will be a kind of a delay like there was this year because there was just no homes at the very, very beginning of the year. And how fast is this market moving? Well, here you go. The market time, expected market time, you place your home on the market, when are you going to open up escrow, was it 32 days last week? It changed. It was flat from 2 weeks prior. It was at 38 days last year at this time. So slower last year at 32 days is ridiculous. The 3-year average is 85 days, way higher than where we are today. That's a slight seller's market. So sellers kind of get to call the shots, but not a lot of appreciation. That's typically where we are right now. And today we're at 31 days. So yes, it went down, and you're wondering how, if supply and demand both went down like the same rate of 1%. So the supply actually went down a little bit more percentage-wise than demand, and it was already on the threshold of almost becoming 31 days last week. So that's why we're at 31 days. The speed of the market, the smaller the number, the faster you're going. That's why the speedometer looks like that. Just it's extremely fast. This thing has to slowly but surely move all the way to the other side for all these people that are talking about it becoming a buyer's market. It takes a long time to get there. It's just not going to happen anytime soon, anytime in the horizon that I can see. So the expected market time below that 90 days is called a seller's market. Below 60 is a hot seller's market. And of course, below 40 is an insane market. And that's where we are. It will continue to be insane for the rest of the year. LA is at a 30-day expected market time. It's no change in the last week. Orange County is at 23 days, no change in the last week. Riverside is at 30 days, down 1 day. And then San Bernardino is at 34 days, up 1 day in the last week. And San Diego's at 24 days, flat for the last week. So not a whole lot of change in this last week like what we saw in last week's housing debrief episode. And housing values, they're absolutely skyrocketing. They will continue to skyrocket, and maybe not at the same pace that we had earlier. There are fewer there are the multiple offer situations. We're still having multiple offer situations. We're just not having 30, 40 multiple offers. Instead, we have fewer, but still there's a lot of multiple offer situations. I know because I see lots. I remember I followed the market time in every single city in Southern California, and there's some markets where it has like a 14, 15-day expected market time. That means that there are for instance, where I'm at, I live in Ladera Ranch, and there are 13 homes on the market right now, and there are like 33 that are in escrow within the last 30 days, which means that we're placing so many in that the escrows are far bigger, the demand, than there are actually of inventory. And that's where you get an extremely lopsided market where it's in the teens. And there's many, many cities across Southern California that are like this. So, but I am going to tell you that we're running out of runway for this year on taking advantage of it, because we're about to take a bit of a break. And that break is the holiday market. I don't know if you saw this, but Starbucks officially came out with their holiday cups as of yesterday. And these are the lineup for the holiday cups at Starbucks. And that kind of means that, hey, you know what? The holidays have arrived, or they're about to arrive. We're running out of runway. We're going to tap the brakes coming up, and that's where the demand drops, and so does the inventory, because we only have 2 weeks left. And that 2 weeks it always slows down the week prior to Thanksgiving, which is in 2 weeks. So after that, things really slow down. A lot of buyers start enjoying the holidays. We're getting focused on the Thanksgiving meal and that type of stuff. And there's a lot of people that are susceptible to throwing in the towel that will further exacerbate how low the inventory is, because there are people that have been on the market for more than 30 days. And these are the kind of people that are having a little bit of trouble in this hot market and selling their homes for a variety of different reasons. Some of them they're in luxury, some of them for other reasons. And as far as the number that have been on for at least a month, it's 47%. Remember, there are 18,000 homes on the market. Well, that's almost half of the inventory right now. Many of those can throw in the towel, at least temporarily, and say, I'm going to wait until 2022 or the spring to place my home on the market. And that's what's going to happen with driving the inventory down further. The ones that have been on the market for 2 months plus is 27% of the market, and only 17% have been on the market for 3 months plus. So, hey, if you want a copy of this, you have to be a subscriber to the Housing Report, and then just hit me up with a little, something in the chat. Put it in the comments that you want a copy of it, but you have to be an actual subscriber to the Housing Report in order to get one. And you can go to reportsonhousing.com, click on subscribe, and it's $15 per month or $150 per year. You get a month free if you sign up utilizing the coupon code margins, because that's really what happened. Those tight margins is why Zillow is out of that. They're going to focus on what they're good at. What are they good at? They're good at a marketing machine on getting everybody to come to their platform, and then they dole out leads to agents. So Kevin Buddy at Monarch Coast Financial, he deals with all kinds of loans, everything, because everybody's a little bit different. And he has loads and loads of experience. He's been doing this since 1976. He helped my family out. He can help your family out too at Monarch Coast Financial. Kevin Buddy, have him help you and your clients at 949-422-2075. That's 949-422-2075. Thank you so much, Kevin, for your continued support. We really appreciate it. That's all I have. And let's see if I go over here. I think I do have a couple of questions other than I'd like a copy. I think I did see. Let's see. They say, is January historically a bad time to put a home on the market? It's just not the most appropriate time. I mean, it's for families. It doesn't mean you're not going to be able to sell your home quickly. You're able to sell your home really fast in the month of January because there's nothing going to be on the market. You're going to be competing against nobody. And Unfortunately, there are a lot more buyers in the marketplace after they place everything on hold for a few weeks. They get into the market in January, and you know what? They're not matched with a whole bunch of new homes that come on the market. The number one month for homes coming on market is the month of May. It's the April, May, June. May is number one. April is typically number two, depends upon the market, and June is number three. That's on average. And so people say they want to wait till spring. Why? Because the kids are in school. They want to wait until the spring. That's why they wait till May. They place their home on the market in May, market it for that month, and then place it into escrow maybe at the end of May, and then they sell it and they close escrow in June or July, and the kids are done with school, and that's what they do. So January, unfortunately, is still winter, and it's not yet spring. So it's not very convenient for families to move. People still do move, just not at the rate that they did before. So that's the number one. That's the reason why it's still really light in January, because it's just there's not that many people doing it. So how do you, let's see this. How do you tell a buyer things will be worse before they get better? I know, Charlie, this is rough. It's about setting expectations. It kind of remembers of my hairstylist who does my hair. I started talking to him in December of last year on, you really need to purchase something. These interest rates are ridiculous, and the market's it's gonna just escalate. And he kept on writing offer after offer, over 30 plus offers, and ended up finally closing in May. I love you too, dude. In May, he just yelled, "I love you, Zeke." In May, he closed. So he had to be patient. It was very, very frustrating, offer after offer after offer. I get it. It's extremely frustrating. It's hard to get back into the ring when there are very few opportunities. So just being a part of it and maybe take a week or 2 week off break, but continuing to do it, that's really what it's all about. Because I've heard that there are more people with various kind of down payments and all that stuff that are now getting accepted. It's not just the absolute cream of the crop and not all cash that is winning right now. So that's a right step in the right direction. We'll have to see how that evolves over time. But that's how I just encourage them to get back in the center ring, because I'm not forecasting rates to go all the way up to 3 3/4%, but if you look at all the forecasts from the various institutions, from the MBA to Freddie Mac to Fannie Mae, they are all talking about higher rates between 3.5 to 3 3/4%. And then I am anticipating appreciation around 10%, not quite the 17% that somebody else was talking about. I think it was Goldman Sachs, and not quite the 5% that CAR is talking about. I think it's going to be closer to about 10%, 8 to 10%. And that's enough where if you're going to sit on the sidelines and interest rates are going to rise, do the math, because you want to deal with what's the worst case scenario is, okay, goes up 10% and interest rates are 3.5 or 3 3/4%. What's that payment look like? That's why you want to play now. And that's kind of what we have to tell everybody. So let's see. You know what? If you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Have a fantastic weekend. I absolutely appreciate the ability to do this. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend. We will see you on the other side.